never mind the date. We are in a Cancerian new moon, together with the Sun being in Cancer. Jupiter, which was going retrograde for a while, looks like it's set to move forward, but just for now, in terms of the way we're aligned with it, it is standing still from our perspective. This is all from our perspective. And of course, it's a new moon with a solar eclipse. It is the third of these eclipses that we're having this year. And this water sign is an opportunity for us to get those foundations, get those moments of clarity consolidated within ourselves. We've been focusing on relationship with spirit and relationship with self as spirit in the past few sessions. And so I'm very excited because this new moon with the solar eclipse is a wonderful transmission of energy that we can work with to consolidate, to create the foundations of our relationship with spirit. Outside of this group, I watch human beings in general struggle with relationships in their ignorance of the presence of spirit. And I interact with people all the time whose mouths drop open when I start to talk, whether it's with crossed over beings or with masters or with angels, and they always look so completely astonished, amazed. They can't believe that this is real, and they look at me as if I must be especially blessed, that I must have been given some really special gifts, or that I've just flown in on some unseen UFO. And every time that happens, there's a little part of my ego self that goes, oh yay, blow your socks off. And then there's another part of me that feels sad that regardless of how old the New Age movement is, we still don't regard this as being natural, normal, that everybody should be doing it because everybody can be doing it. Inside of the group, I might not make your jaws drop to the floor as often as I used to because, oi, are you sleeping? Just checking. Damn, now I'm going to have to edit this whole thing out. Come sit over here where I can pinch you if I need to. Thank you. No transcending before we even get into meditation. That's better. Rude, you know. Where was I? Yes, I might not make your jaws drop to the floor as often as I'd like to, except maybe if you're yawning. But it is nice to astonish you from time to time. My ego side relishes it. On the other hand, there are moments where I truly astonish myself and I go, oh my God, did I just say that? Isn't that awesome? Or have those moments where something just falls into place and it goes click, 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 and everything lights up, and I go, wow, that's just, oh my God, did that just happen? And that is the biggest bonus of my relationship with spirit. So when I look at how much disbelief there is in the world, I come back and I see that despite my immense faith in the universe, in God, in everything, my human brain still holds that little part of disbelief that keeps me in awe, that just keeps me looking at the universe thinking, you didn't just say that, you didn't just do that. How amazing is that? And in this relationship that seems so natural and so real, and yet is so completely intangible, I am at my most brilliant, I am at my most articulate, I am at my happiest. So if you left me alone with Spirit for the rest of my life, I would be fine. Not possible, however, because much of the purpose of the relationship with Spirit is to mediate and manage and even meditate the interactions and relationships on the human plane. So very often I find myself sitting quietly with Spirit in order to manage my relationship with myself and how I'm thinking and feeling and how I can then interact with the rest of the world. And like almost everybody on this planet, I have difficulty believing the information that Spirit gives me just for me. It's easier now that I'm older and wiser, but it used to be really difficult because, for example, I would shuffle a set of cards, and I would pick out a card and I wouldn't like it. And then I'll shuffle the cards again and get another one. And invariably Spirit would give me the same card. Just remember when we got the same card 3 times in a row, and I was like, okay, I'm going to just take this one now. There were other moments where I'd ask a question and I'd get an answer that seemed pretty obvious. And then I'd ask the same question and I'd get the same answer which seemed pretty obvious, louder. And then I'd ask the same question because that's me, human, wanting something to be driven home. And then I'd get silence. Just total silence. And then, of course, in my humanness, in my limited thinking, I would fight with Spirit about why aren't they answering me? And invariably everybody would just wind up laughing at me because they'd answered me and I wasn't listening. It's easier for me to fight with Spirit than it is to fight with human beings because they always laugh through their fights with me. They laugh at themselves, they laugh at me, they laugh at the events, and it's never a malicious laughter. It's always an inspiring, uplifting, even healing laughter, which bears out the cliche that laughter is in fact the best medicine. Very often in my limited understanding of the universe, which considering the nature of the universe is still very limited, I've asked questions about things that are going to happen, and Spirit has given me a range of scenarios and said, which one would you like the best? And in giving me the scenarios, they've always given me things I've never imagined. Scenarios I hadn't possibly conceived of. And I often sit there thinking, what are they talking about? This is the question I asked. That's the scenario they're showing me. Really? Can we talk about my problem? And of course they're showing me things that just never occurred to me. And I cannot even correlate the two until again I sit quietly and I move past my thinking, past my mind, into feeling or seeing what they're showing me. And then it gets connected inside of me. And when it gets connected inside of me, I very often feel that on the human plane, I am being completely outlandish, that I am being out there somewhere, off the wall, avant-garde, in my view of the world. And people have often said, you're just overly idealistic. And yet, it has become, and it is. When I started the center, I was the most scared person I knew. I was scared of failing. I was scared of not living fully. And I was more scared of not living fully than I was of failing. So I took the risk. And the center went through some really hard times, fingernail-biting times, before it actually stabilized. And in all of that time, the question for me was, am I doing the right thing in running the center? Maybe all of these hard times are because Spirit doesn't want me to do this work. And I made it all about me. I would always go to any hardship and think, maybe that's a sign from Spirit that they don't want me to do this work. Or maybe that's a sign from Spirit that this isn't working for them. Or maybe that's a sign from Spirit that I should give up now. Or maybe all of these hardships are happening because Spirit doesn't have as much faith in me as I have in them. Or maybe I don't have, and my God, my brain could just hit that maybe zone, and then my brain could come up with so many possible scenarios. More scenarios than Spirit when I was looking for something good. My father used to say, maybes and ifs are instant failures. You are setting yourself up for disaster when you start with the maybes and the ifs. Because just those two words indicate a space of doubt. Even perhaps it's like this. Perhaps it should be like that. Says, I'm not really committed to something. So I had to stop asking those stupid questions. And I started saying, show me. I scrapped the maybes and the ifs, and I said, show me. Show me that I'm on purpose. Show me that I'm on track. Show me that my faith or my work is in fact what I'm supposed to be doing, or that it is in fact in service in the universe. And when I started doing that, I realized that it was my mind, my brain, my past experience, my view of the world, my wanting to prove to everybody else that what I had chosen as the right thing to do and be was the right thing to do and be. And I was so focused on proving to everybody else that I could do this, that this was meaningful, that this was of service, that I was missing the experience of being meaningful and being of service and being purposeful in the world. I was so focused on the outcome that I could then tangibly show everybody else that I wasn't fully experiencing the very tangible, real shifts and changes that were happening inside of me. In other words, I was living my entire relationship with Spirit for the naysayers outside of me than the gainsayer inside of me. And it took a while to outgrow that one. The center and I have evolved. And every lesson has come back to the center of the center. And this is why I'm so blessed to be at the center of it. All of you as students, all of my clients, pay me to stay connected to Spirit. Who could ask for more? You all pay me to talk to Spirit every day. I've got the best job in the world. I love this call center. It's just the most amazing space to live. And most of all, you pay me to stay in a zone where my questions get answered without me having questions, where there is a consistent and constant flow of energy and information and knowing and understanding and feeling and being and healing that is so instantaneously available to me and to everybody else. Unfortunately for everybody else who has not made this their life's work and who doesn't get paid to just sit in the zone with Spirit, you have to go and do a real job, and you think that you have to get out of the zone to do that real job. So we have to come to meditation and we have to do this work to train you to stay in the zone for most of your life, if not all of your life. But I get paid to live in this zone, and it's the most wonderful thing ever. In this relationship with Spirit, they don't care whether I get paid or not, which is sometimes a problem because they give me lots of work to do at no pay, and they give me grand bonuses, unexpected grand bonuses instead. And that's what I call my miracles. When I went through that stage of severely doubting myself and doubting whether this was what I should be doing because it got so hard, I realized that it was my mind trying to decide if this work that so intrigued and fascinated me was worthwhile. And what I was doing was trying to quantify something priceless. My survival mechanisms, everything I have learned in the education system and higher institutions of learning, which are nowhere near as high as learning with spirit, taught me that there has to be something worthwhile. It has to be worth my while, worth my time and attention. That if I don't have something tangible to show for it, then it's not really worth doing, and I should have it as a hobby. And everywhere I looked, there were light workers, some of them really good friends of mine, who had all of these other jobs and all of these other businesses that they were in to support this work, to make this work worthwhile or fulfilling spiritually, but never materially, never in terms of prosperity. And really, it's only been after about 13 or 14 years of living the center that I understood actually it's only really after Paddy died that I understood that this abundance that is life, this abundance that is this driving force that makes me yearn for the more of God, has got nothing to do with outcomes. It's got nothing to do with stuff or things. It's got everything to do with understanding, with feeling, with knowing, even with that deep desire, that yearning to be as much as you can possibly be in this moment, regardless of who is watching. It's like dancing naked in the universe, regardless of whether there is an audience or not. Unself-consciously stepping into every aspect of yourself, regardless. And it's always regardless. Regardless of whether someone will know or not. Regardless of whether somebody will applaud or not. Regardless of whether somebody will pay you or not. Regardless of whether somebody will like you for it or not, or hate you for it or not, regardless of all of that. And when Paddy died, I finally reached a point where I was living regardless. And I was living from a very foggy state of regardless, and I had to outgrow my foggy state into a loving state of regardless. And what that regardless state did was that it said to me, I can no longer buy into the drama that this work is airy-fairy, or that this work is a hobby, or that this work actually cannot, as work, create a lifestyle or an abundance. Because that's what we've been shown. We've been taught the manifestation boards. We've been told that unless you sign that 3-book contract to sell what you're saying, you can't possibly be abundant. That it cannot come at you out of thin air unless you have made those tangible anchoring things possible. So we have people buying into the notion that the being spiritual is good fun and it's very fulfilling, but it cannot support your life on the physical plane. And to all of those people I want to say, can you please go home, leave your soul there and come back here. And then all we'd have is a lot of Robert Mugabes on the planet. You know, all of those people who are walk-ins, who are low vibrational, and who aren't qualifying as soul, those so-called soulless beings. Because without I am soul, everything else is meaningless. And sometimes it's the hardest thing in the world. hardest thing on this plane anyway. To believe, to know for certain, to know regardless, I am soul. And it is that one small phrase that opens you up to that natural, organic relationship with yourself as spirit, with spirit as spirit, with the universe as energy. There's a lovely book called The History of Money by somebody called Debbie Price. And I remember buying this book. It's, ideal, right? Miss Price wrote this book on the history of money, where she talks about how over time human beings have used different commodities, including things like shells, as exchange systems, where we've exchanged our skills, where we've done these trades with each other as a way of inspiring and uplifting and serving each other that had nothing to do with quantity and everything to do with quality. And we know, as people who have moved past the survival mechanisms of our lives, that we are looking for quality. We're looking for quality in our relationships. We're looking for quality in our connectedness, quality in our consciousness, quality in the mass consciousness. And much of our deep sense of disappointment and betrayal is in constantly feeling ripped off that quality is not present. And yet deep within ourselves, every time we bring everything back to that basic outcomes-based understanding, to the transaction of things, we're actually undermining the quality that we are creating. Be very clear about that. Every time we are creating something in a qualitative way, we undermine it by then going into a judgment about the outcome. You might not like the outcome. Really, we might not. But that's only part of the outcome that we're seeing. Our perspective, again, judges it. So within ourselves, when we want to consolidate this knowing, I am soul, and I know this in my relationship with myself and the entire universe as energy, to consolidate it, we must practice all of those things, like acceptance of what is. I'm not going to judge this little outcome that I can see. It's like looking at a painting from its backside and telling yourself it's a terrible painting. Now, do you remember all of those people who said Van Gogh was mad and they didn't really like his work, and now they're spending billions on it? Same thing with all of those avant-garde painters, the Renaissance men. We know how stupid we can be. But this point of view, this consciousness that we bring that wants to see something worthwhile, we want it to be an investment that will have an outcome. So I've started saying to people, I'm the best investment you can make. Me, you will take from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime. Everything else you're going to die and leave behind. Me, I'll find you in the next lifetime. And I will even find you between lifetimes to clap you upside the head for not living what I'm teaching you mindfully. Everybody got that? Thank you. Just in case you missed it, shall I say it again? Okay. You see, this is the thing about energy. It transcends everything. And I love that about it. I love that it goes places. I love that it opens up all of these opportunities. I love that with the spirit and with this relationship with the universe, there's so much that is unpredictable, that anything I can imagine can come back at me at least 30 different unimagined ways, unpredictably, in ways that even my intelligent mind in communication with spirit cannot fathom, that they can surprise me and that they can excite me. This is like having great sex all the time, according to Osho. You didn't think I thought that one up by myself, did you? Of course I got that one from Osho. He was here first thing this morning. And he made me start my session all over again because he wanted it to be said in the order that he would say it. So we started all over again and we did it his way and he was very excited. And he said to me, this living in harmony with creation is like having great sex every day. This bliss is an orgasmic bliss that nothing in the universe other than this harmony can provide. This is Tantra at its best. And then he got rude. So I said, did you see who my Lord husband is? Don't mess with me. Stand down. Because he's always so chauvinistic. He then proceeded to tell me that as a woman, I must accept that there will be certain limitations to my capacity to heal, to work with spirit. Because a woman's energy, according to Osho, must flow in a multitude of directions to nurture and to mother and heal. A woman must hold the maiden and the crone energy with the goddess energy simultaneously. And this will distract her from the single-minded focus that is required to maintain this blissful, orgasmic relationship with the universe. And instantaneously, I understood why Shiv has called me Sajjana. There is no better way to maintain an orgasmic, blissful relationship with the universe other than to be in marital intimacy with it. And it doesn't matter what gender you are, that partnership relationship with the universe is yours. You are yin and yang exactly as Shiv is. So Osho made the mistake of thinking that my gender this lifetime makes me smaller than my yin and yang energy this lifetime. And I get mad with him, but I also get even. I did. It was great fun. Because I said, can you see who is here? Can you see who my husband is? Can you see that you are messing with the wrong woman? And so we learnt a new level of respect in the universe. And it is not the first time I've had to fight with Osho. But it is the first time that I have stood my ground in my relationship with spirit and claimed it as being more powerful than Osho's. Not from an ego perspective, but from a faith perspective. Because under no circumstances is anyone on this plane allowed to get in the way of your natural relationship with spirit, with an entire universe that operates as abundance consciousness, whether you are in a body or outside a body. And that's just a natural law. The law of physics says nothing can live for you. Nothing can be your energy in the universe. As you move through time and space as a timeless, infinite being, nothing replaces you. There is no such thing as displacement of this energy that is your frequency, your thumbprint. This is us being completely unique, cosmically speaking, and looking to be special on the earth plane. We are so unique that if you send out a vibration, like a calling sound, exactly like animals, they send out a vibration like dolphins, who send out a sonic vibration that calls to other dolphins, that identifies them with a pod. We do that telepathically. We are sound vibrations that are sending out information, and we call to others. We summon them, whether they're in a body or out of a body. This is what we do. We come from soul communities. We have these sounds in common, and we call to each other. This holistic intelligence that we share with dolphins and unicorns and whales and other large mammals that we do not know exist beneath the oceans that we are now polluting, that holistic intelligence is at work for everybody. What are you calling to and from? More importantly, how are you getting in the way of your original signal? Now, I don't want everybody to go into a drama about how am I living my poverty consciousness. I want you to go into the drama of how am I living my abundance consciousness. And one of the first things we do about living abundance consciousness is that we get enthusiastic. You get excited about life. I look a little corny and even stupid on occasion because I get excited about everything. I get excited about the little things and the big things. I get excited about the in-between things. I get excited. I let things move me. And it moves the universe. It must move the universe. If you could see me waving my arms around now, you'd see the whole universe shift. Right? No? Did you feel the universe move? Did you not feel the earth move under your feet? You see now, I don't know what is wrong with all of you. You're all just smiling at me quietly. I am unself-conscious in my enthusiasm for the universe. And I am loud and clear about it because I am trumpeting it to the world. And by the same token, I know how to be in quiet contentment with where I am. I know how to be in quiet contentment and okay. And in fact, I relish those moments of being alone in my universe with whomever in spirit chooses to accompany me. Yesterday, when the unicorns were racing across the heavens, and I could hear these hooves stampeding across the heavens, bringing up a drumming beat, shifting things and changing things, my mind automatically went to look for the dust that they were raising. See, human brain. And all I could see was swirls of energy, and I got excited. My anticipation levels rose, and I thought, Paddy's got magic in mind. So Alicia has no idea how right she was when she put that sign up saying, I live with the magic dog. But this kind of magic, this kind of miracle making, it's in our minds. It's in how we view ourselves. It's in how willing we are to get enthusiastic about life, to inspire life and let it inspire us in return. We know that who we are being gathers everything we need out of the universe. It brought me the husband of my dreams in 2013. What could it possibly bring you? And I didn't even know he existed, you know. In fact, almost everything I treasure the most in my life today, I had no concept of its existence. And if you get down to the kernel of truth in that, then I had no concept of my own existence until I started living it well, experiencing it fully, living it out loud. Because that's when my experiencing of myself became a common thread, a frequency I could rely upon, a frequency I could hear more clearly, and even a drumbeat that I could claim as my own and dance to. And this is why I am so comfortable being all sorts of things. At the core of my being, there is a vibration that is me, that I recognize as me, that I know is me. From there, I can be a chameleon on a smarty box. You got that? Okay. All the colors at once. So integrating this relationship with spirit, with enthusiasm. Never mind trust. You'll have to learn that in the experiencing, but enthusiasm. with a little bit of risk and a little bit of courage and a little bit of fun, because the universe takes everything lightly. It takes you lightly. And it gives you everything lightly. This relationship with spirit, until you do it, until you have it, until you are living it and practicing it and encouraging it and using it and making it part of everything you're doing, whether it's going shopping or sweeping, which you should all be doing soon, new brooms, sweep clean. If you're painting something, anything, creative or not creative, if you're doing your books, it doesn't matter what you're doing. Start with the consciousness that you are in the presence. That whatever you're thinking, it is heard. That in the universe, at least, you have a consistent and constant voice. Have the imaginary conversations until they cease to be imaginary conversations and they become as real as your brain will allow. And then there will be a tipping point and you will move past your brain into that sure knowing that it is. Now I have to tell you, when some of the people in my life come back at me sounding like me, I look over their shoulder to check who's talking. I do this often these days. I automatically look over their shoulder to check who's talking, because I know what I sound like. I know what my guides sound like. And when it's popping out of somebody else's mouth, it freaks me out a little. But I listen and I look over their shoulder to check who's doing the talking. And I'm always marvelously, wonderfully surprised to see that it's not my guides talking, that it's not their guides talking, it's them talking. That they are talking from their inner wisdom, that they are allowing their guides to flow through them so that they are more confident, they are more present, they are more assured in speaking their own truth. It's wonderful. And it's wonderful when they pick fights of their own with other people without me saying, go pick a fight. It's lovely. It's so amazing for me that people are getting more and more courageous and assertive and present in their relationships with themselves and spirit. So spirit is not about manifesting the house. It's not about making a better job for yourself or getting that new car or any of those things. It is about living the abundance of you, the you that is gracious, the you that is joyful, the you that is playful, the you that wants the best for everybody, the you that has a conscience and a moral compass, a cosmically moral compass, the you that wants to see the mysteries and the magic of life, that you that has lived through aeons of time and is abundantly conscious. Okay. So I bought a compost activator, an organic compost activator, which if you pour 500 mils of water into like 2 tablespoons of powder, can help 2 tons of garden refuse decompose. So for today's meditation, I asked if there was any way I could have a compost activator for the brain. Is there any way that I could have a compost activator that I could pour all over human disbelief systems and decompose that so that we come more naturally to our organic true selves? So we can return to ourselves. And of course, Spirit thought this was the funniest thing ever. And they said, now you're not just asking for a miracle, now you're asking for us to recreate the universe. It was too big an ask. I'm sorry. And the reason it's too big an ask is that my garden refuse has no free will. You have free will. And I cannot impose upon your free will with my compost activator. You have to do your own compost activating and decomposing in order to become organically reconnected with yourself. In the meantime, practicing enthusiasm, getting excited, looking, consciously looking at the world to see the good stuff, the great stuff in it. Because when you do that, the universe bends over backwards to give you more of the same. When you step into the world ready to see what's wrong with it, to fix it, it gives you more of the same. So please stop fixing my universe or your universe. Let's go into maintenance mode and just maintain your mindfulness of how beautiful and brilliant the universe actually is with the solar eclipse. You have a comment over it? I can hear it. I stop talking now, Lou. Thank you.